Yo, what's up? What it do out there? Anybody on here watch The View? Anybody a Whoopi Goldberg fan? Stories with V. What's up? Shout out to Baltimore. What's up, bro? Hey V, I ain't gonna just straight up ask you, do you watch The View? I don't know if a whole lot of guys watch The View, so I ain't gonna ask you that like that. But are you aware of this conversation between Charlemagne and Whoopi Goldberg pertaining to Joe Biden? Are you familiar with that? That's kind of like what I'm on for a second because I got a little interview. Shout out to my man Banky Pound. He hooked me up with a feature, an interview on a popular YouTube channel. That's why I like the big homies, bro. The real big homies. They act like big homies, bro. You know what I mean? And I'm a grown ass man, so when I'm saying big homie, I'm not saying nobody that I follow. I say somebody that's older than me that I admire that gives guidance. That's a big homie. Nah, no view. Nah, I ain't on that yet. Okay. I'm gonna tap into a little bit of it. But matter of fact, where my phone at? I don't want to say this wrong, but we all know that Joe Biden is the one that authored them laws. Who you connected with? I forgot his name. I don't want to say it incorrectly. I got it written down. But we supposed to be on there. I think Banky might go on at 10. I'll probably had to sit around since I'm his guest. I'm gonna have to sit around for a minute. Shout out to Banky Pound. Make sure y'all go follow Banky Pound. Subscribe to his channel. Good man. But did anybody hear the statement? And I'm addressing. I'm gonna tell you why I'm addressing this. A lot of my family members, I'm gonna call them well-to-do black folks. Like they far removed from poverty. Some of them are even removed from the middle class status. Me, I think I'm still considered a lower middle class in financial stability or economic status. I don't think that I'm nowhere above middle class pertaining to what I own and how much money I make. So let's get that out of the way. I ain't no big Willie. But I had some family members that did not go to prison, that got their education, invested in what we're gonna consider the American dream and done things the way that you quote unquote supposed to do it. Get a job, pay taxes, maybe start a business. All of them seem to be Biden supporters along the way. I was not a Biden supporter. I was not a Harris supporter. I was not a Trump supporter. You can read between the lines. But they kept arguing me down that you got to pick between the two. And you got to go with Biden because of this. And I kept saying, yo, I can't go with Biden. Biden signed them laws that put everything in perspective for the super predator. And I just don't respect it. Fast forward 30, 40 years after Biden wrote all them terrible laws that affected all these young black youth, right? His son turned out to be a crackhead and a gun owner. Let's be real. We ain't got to be polite over here. Hunter Biden was a crackhead, bro. Just like I got crackheads in my family, pipe heads in my family, just like all of us know a pipe head in our family. Joe Biden, the president of the United States, his son is a crackhead or was a crackhead that had a gun. What about all the people that went away to prison for mandatory minimums based on the 1986 laws and 1994 laws that Joe Biden pushed? And then his old, decrepit, crumbling, sleepy, lunching, Alzheimer's having ass gonna come back and pardon his son? And I ain't got no problem with nobody pardoning their son, but I did some research on it. The Joe Biden pardon of Hunter Biden, bro, is the biggest pardon in history. He pardoned his son for anything that he did from, I want to make sure I say it right, January 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024. First and foremost, If he only made some mistakes because he was a crackhead and he bought a gun and they did a political prosecution on him, then all you had to pardon him for was the crackhead era, right? All you had to pardon him for, all Joe Biden had to pardon him for at that time was his addiction and his substance abuse part of his life, right? Why did Joe Biden see fit to pardon him for a decade? You dig what I'm saying? I went back and did my research, so I ain't talk about it much. The closest thing to a pardon this big, this might be the biggest pardon in U.S. history in regards to time frame. The closest thing in time frame that a pardon is close to this pardon of Joe Biden is the pardon of Richard Nixon by Gerald Ford. And Richard Nixon was in the White House. You know, they couldn't even prosecute him for certain things because he was the president, but they was going to tear his ass out the frame for that one. But what my point is this. First and foremost, I don't respect nothing about Whoopi Goldberg no more. When I was a kid, I used to avoid the ugly jokes. As I got grown to a grown man, I used to avoid her political positions. Bruh, why does Whoopi Goldberg feel the need to always defend Joe Biden? Like, does Whoopi Goldberg have kids? Because if she had a black son or a black child or a black male in her family that experienced anything that was perpetrated by the teeth of the vicious laws that Joe Biden created for super predators, that was basically for black and brown men, why would Whoopi Goldberg give a fuck about Hunter Biden? And she challenged Charlemagne. Charlemagne called Biden out on his word. First and foremost, before we get to the Whoopi Goldberg thing, let me get into my issue, because I only got a few minutes to ride this issue for a second. Joe Biden gave a humongous oath. The oath don't mean shit to me. And it shouldn't mean shit to the United States of America, the American people no more. Joe Biden said, I will not pardon my son. And that's my word as a Biden. Let's just sit there for 1 second. What does Joe Biden's word as a Biden mean? Who the fuck is a Biden and why do we care about what their word means, bruh? So for everybody to promote Joe Biden's such a good man. He gave his word that he would not pardon his son. Now, me personally, I'm gonna pardon my son. Give me the power to pardon my son. I'm gonna pardon my son and all his buddies and everybody else. But Joe Biden stood in front of the American people from his lying platform, as he lies all the time, as all the politician lies. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, whoever, they lie. Everybody lies. Oh, Whoopi Goldberg has a daughter. Okay, thank you. So is anybody following the fact or making anything about the fact that Joe Biden said he gives his word as a Biden? Did that mean anything to anybody? Does that mean anything to anybody? Does that mean anything to anybody? And now that I've made that a point, people say no, it don't mean anything to anybody. Why? And this is not for the vote. This is not for the American voter. This is not for the American political expert. This is for the regular Joe like me. They got black, older family members, aunts, uncles, mamas, daddies, and they keep preaching to us Democrats, Joe Biden. And I ain't on no Democrat, Republican shit. I ain't even on no black and white shit right now. I ain't on no race shit right now. I'm on man shit right now. I'm on what your word means. Why do all our peoples who keep preaching on Whoopi Goldberg specifically? She even used the word Democrat. Charlemagne didn't use the word Democrat. He challenged Joe Biden as a man and his word. Whoopi Goldberg with her black ass jumped out there and said, oh, I'm going to push back. Democrats this, and he changed his mind. First and foremost, anybody can change their mind, but he gave his word. His word ain't never been shit. But he gave his word as a Biden. That's like me saying I give my word as Eon, as if that means anything to the American people. I give you my word as Eon. But no, Eon is only singular. He gave his word in plural. and stake the honor of his family name on it. My word as a Biden. So you know his word and Biden, neither the two singularly, plurally mean shit. Now, this is what I want to get into. Back to the substance abuse for his crackhead son, right? If he needed to pardon his son because they was politically using him, as a way to get to Biden, I'm gonna reiterate this. Why do you pardon him for more than the situation about the gun? Because his crackhead ass been doing all type of wild shit for longer than 10 years. You know him. You know he a crackhead. You know he a substance abuser. You know that his morals and principles is different. Didn't he marry Bo's wife, a widow? Didn't he go back behind his brother and marry? Y'all keep talking about, oh, he lost a sister, he lost a brother. He married his brother's widow, right? Ain't that weird? Ain't that some Biden shit? Now, I already told you he pardoned his son for more than a decade. Criminals don't even get pardoned like that. George Bush, who pardoned the Iran-Contra people, didn't pardon him for that many years. Jimmy Carter pardoned a number of people that ducked the Vietnam War. He covered a couple years of that. Who else did something? Andrew Johnson, one of the most racist presidents in the country. He pardoned 13,000 Confederate soldiers after the Civil War. I'm researching right now, and I want to see where they was locked up at. And then he granted them clemency for all of their offenses. None of that compares to the amount of time that Joe Biden pardoned his son for a 10-year, almost an 11-year span. So it made me go research it, right? So I said, damn, bro, I want to see why he pardoned his son for such a long time. Pin this here. The pardon covers the time that Hunter Biden, crackhead ass, was on the board for the Ukrainian Energy Commission in 2014. Don't that coincide with the whole 10-year pardon? So he know they gonna come back at him for this energy shit. He know his crackhead son did something wrong up in there with that. So he pardons him for all that. He was a part of that Energy Commission in 2014. After the time of the crimes, no pardon like Hunter Biden's pardon comes close to any pardon in history except for the Gerald Nixon pardon, which covered the years of 1969 to 1974. That's the only pardon that come close to this. No president in U.S. history has ever pardoned a son or anyone as close as Hunter Biden. So before I drag it on and on, because like I said, I'm going to go do something, I just want y'all to think about this, and we're going to come back and talk about this. Joe Biden passed most of those laws that created mandatory minimums and 101 the ratios for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Some more black and white shit. So that actually protected his son and all the households of white people that had white sons that was crackheads like Hunter Biden, right? Then come back and pardon him years after all the young black men and Spanish men have gone, and poor white men. Let's not forget there are poor white people in prison for the 101 ratio for crack. It had nothing to do with powder. You dig it? And then come back and pardon your son for 10 years. I think 26,000 or something. 26,000 or 11,000. I'm gonna double check that. Don't quote me on this. Thousands of clemency and pardon requests came in. I'm gonna go into. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a big old thing on pardon and how to get pardoned because it's a big thing here. I don't know this for a fact, so I'm gonna say it as a question. I'm gonna pose it as a question. How many people, especially black people, but how many people? I wouldn't care if they were purple. How many people that has the charge 922G, felon in possession of a firearm? How many of those people did Joe Biden pardon? How many of those people did he even look at the circumstances of the case before he pardoned Hunter Biden crackhead ass? No, I don't know Bam Bam from Shreveport. Somebody asked me about that earlier. But just think about that, bro. Oh, I did write down something else I saw. George Washington pardoned people from the Whiskey Rebellion, a big group of people. Donald Trump might even quote this. He gonna quote George Washington on one of them when he pardoned them January 6 guys, and he gonna do it in the fashion of George Washington pardoning them, or in the fashion of Andrew Jackson pardoning 13,000 Confederate soldiers, man. Don't be fooled by this shit. Tell Whoopi Goldberg, go man, do a bleach bath somewhere. Don't nobody want to hear nothing she talking about. Free the real, bro.